The war was over. King's Landing still smelled of ash and death after Daenerys had burned it down with Drogon. The people were broken, houses shattered, children crying in the streets. Jon Snow stood in the Red Keep, looking down at what was once the heart of Westeros. And inside his heart there was only silence. He had done it. He had killed Daenerys. He had whispered sorry into her ear, holding her in his arms as she died. Drogon had flown away with her body, and for a moment Jon thought it was all over, that he would be killed or locked away forever. But something strange happened. No one came to punish him. The Unsullied waited. The Dothraki rode in circles outside the city walls, unsure what to do without their queen. Then Tyrion, still in chains, looked at Jon with tired eyes and said, "You are Aegon Targaryen. You are the last dragon." Jon hated the name. He had never wanted it. He was a Snow, not a Targaryen. But the truth couldn't be hidden anymore. Bran knew, Arya knew, Sansa knew. And once the lords of Westeros found out, everything changed. A council was called. In the Dragon Pit, the most powerful people of the realm gathered. Yara Greyjoy, Sir Davos, Samwell Tarly, Brienne of Tarth, and even Edmure Tully came. The Stark siblings sat side by side, silent and strong. Grey Worm stood with the Unsullied, his face hard like stone. Tyrion stepped forward. "We must choose a ruler. Someone to rebuild what's been destroyed. Someone who knows war but wants peace." He turned toward Jon. "He is the true heir. Son of Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark. Born of ice and fire. He didn't ask for this, but maybe that's why he should be king." Jon didn't want the crown. He didn't even want to speak. But the people looked at him, not with fear, like they did with Daenerys. They looked at him with hope. "I never wanted to rule," Jon said finally, voice low. "I took no joy in killing Daenerys. She believed she was doing right. But if we keep following people who burn cities and call it justice, we will never change." Sansa spoke next, sharp as ever. "He's not just a Targaryen. He's a Stark, raised in Winterfell, shaped by the North. He knows honor," Arya added. "He knows pain, too. He died for this realm, came back and still fought for people who never thanked him. One by one, the lords and ladies bent their heads. Even Grey Worm, after long silence, gave a nod. "We will sail back to Narth. We leave the realm to you. But promise us justice. Promise peace." Jon stood in the middle of them all, surrounded by history, fire, and ash. And slowly he said, "If I take the throne, it will not be for power. It will be for peace." And that day, Aegon Targaryen, known to the world as Jon Snow, was named King of the Seven Kingdoms. But what comes after the crown is not peace. It never is. The Iron Throne was gone, melted by Drogon's fire. Nothing but twisted metal and black stone remained in the throne room. And yet Jon Snow, now King Aegon Targaryen, stood where kings once sat. Not on a throne of swords, but on stone steps beside the ruins of old power. He didn't feel like a king. The small council was quickly rebuilt. Tyrion became hand again, though Jon made him swear he would serve with truth this time, not clever words. Sam was named Grand Maester. Brienne stood as Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. Sir Davos, always loyal, took the role of Master of Ships. And Bran, though he refused to rule himself, agreed to help guide his brother with knowledge from the past and present. But not everyone was pleased. Sansa Stark did not bow when the lords named Jon king. She stood still, eyes cold and sharp. That night after the council, she came to him privately. "You're not my brother anymore," she said. "You're Aegon, the realm's king. But I'm still Lady of Winterfell, and the North won't kneel." Jon looked at her with tired eyes. "I never wanted you to kneel, Sansa. I don't want to rule the North with fear." "Good," she said, "because you won't rule it at all. The North will stay free." Jon said nothing at first. He could feel the weight of the realm crushing him already, north, south, east, and west, pulling in different directions. "You have my blessing," he said finally. "Let the North be free." She nodded, and for a second Jon saw the little girl she once was, lost in a wolf's world. But now she had grown into a queen of her own kind. Cold, unbending, and sharp as winter. Arya, on the other hand, didn't care about thrones or crowns. "I'm leaving Westeros," she told Jon a day later. "Going west of the maps, where no one has been. I need to find out what's there." He didn't stop her. He knew Arya couldn't be caged, not by walls, not by duty. She was wind. She was storm. Before she left, she hugged him tightly. "Don't lose yourself in this city. King's Landing eats men alive." Then she was gone. Just like that. With Sansa ruling the north and Arya gone to the unknown, Jon felt more alone than ever. He ruled a kingdom still full of scars. The Reach had no lord. Dorne barely sent a prince to the council. The Riverlands were unstable, and the Westerlands had grown cold since the fall of Cersei and Jaime. Worse, whispers started spreading in the alleys and inns. "He's a Targaryen, just like the Mad King. He killed his queen." What kind of man does that? Dragon's blood always leads to fire. Just wait. Jon tried to help the people. He rode out in plain clothes, visited the poor, fed the hungry, rebuilt the orphanages Daenerys had destroyed. But kindness didn't spread as fast as fear. Tyrion warned him, "You're a king now, Jon. That means half the realm will love you, and the other half will want you dead." He wasn't wrong. One night, Jon was walking through the ruins near the Great Sept when a hooded man lunged at him with a dagger. Jon caught his wrist just in time and wrestled the blade away. The man spat in his face. "You killed our queen. She freed us. You took her from us." Jon stood over the man, breathing hard. He didn't kill him. He couldn't, but it shook him. Not because he was afraid, but because he understood. The people weren't just broken. They were divided. The realm wasn't ready to be ruled. It was ready to explode, and behind closed doors, in smoky rooms and noble halls, other plans were being made. Lords from old houses began speaking again. Whispers of the Baratheon line in storms, and of old Lannister gold, hiding in Casterly Rock even. A shadow in Dorne that claimed to be the true heir of Elia Martell's son. The realm wasn't at peace. Jon had taken the crown. But taking it was never the hardest part. Holding it was, and in the shadows of the Red Keep, a raven took flight with a sealed message. Not from an enemy, but from someone Jon never expected to hear from again, Gendry Baratheon, and the words were simple. "You wear the crown. But how long can you keep it?" The letter from Gendry Baratheon burned in Jon's hand. He hadn't seen Gendry since the war. Jon had knighted him, even named him Lord of Storm's End by Daenerys' will. But now, the tone of the message was different. Cold, warning, a challenge maybe. "You wear the crown. But how long can you keep it?" Jon sat alone in the solar, reading the message over and over. Outside, the sun dipped behind the scorched towers of King's Landing. The shadows crept longer. He could feel them. Closing in, he sent for Tyrion. "This came from Gendry," Jon said, handing him the raven's note. "What do you make of it?" Tyrion read it twice. His face tightened. "It's not treason, not yet. But it smells like smoke before a fire. Why would Gendry turn on me?" Tyrion looked at him. "He's a Baratheon. Your father, Rhaegar, killed his aunt. His uncle Robert overthrew your family. Now you sit where Robert sat. You think that doesn't haunt him?" Jon sighed. "I never wanted the crown. Wanting doesn't matter. You have it. And so you've made enemies. Some you haven't even met yet." Jon stood, pacing. "I need to speak with Gendry." "Face to face," Tyrion raised an eyebrow. "That could be dangerous. More dangerous than ignoring him?" The next week, Jon rode south with a small escort, just 6 guards and Ser Davos. The road to Storm's End was rough, still burned in parts from battles long past. Farmers watched them pass with empty eyes. No songs, no joy, just silence. When they reached Storm's End, Gendry was waiting at the gates. He had changed. No longer the wide-eyed blacksmith who ran from gold cloaks. He wore black and gold armor now, trimmed with antlers. His face had grown harder, his eyes sharper. "My king," Gendry said coolly, not kneeling. "Lord Baratheon," Jon replied, dismounting. They walked the castle halls without speaking. Inside the war room, Gendry finally faced him. "You came all this way, just to look me in the eye." "I came to ask what's in your heart," Jon said. "If you plan to betray me, say it to my face." Gendry laughed, but there was no humor in it. "I fought for you. I bled beside you. And then you took the throne of my ancestors. I didn't take it, Jon said. It was given to me. By who? The same nobles who cheered for Daenerys until she burned them alive. Or your family in the north who won't even call you their king. Jon's jaw clenched. You think I enjoy this? I think you wear a crown made of ghosts. And one day they'll crush you. Silence settled between them, heavy, awkward. Then Gendry stepped closer. I don't want your throne, Jon, not yet. But others do. And they'll come from the shadows, from the ashes. You were raised in the north, but you don't know the south. This land remembers. Baratheon, Martell, Tyrell, all those names have teeth. Jon looked at him, really looked. And he saw the truth. Gendry didn't hate him. Not fully. But he feared what Jon represented. Another Targaryen. Another dragon in a world that had already burned. That night, as they sat in the Storm's End hall, a raven arrived. Blood on the scroll. The message came from the Riverlands. A castle burned. House Mouton of Maidenpool all dead. A black banner raised over the ruins. Tyrion's voice rang in Jon's head. Half the realm will want you dead. And now it had begun. Jon turned to Davos. Get the riders ready. We return to the capital. As he left, Gendry said quietly, This is only the beginning. Jon didn't answer. He didn't need to. He could feel it too. Back in King's Landing, trouble awaited. The small folk were angry again. Whispers about food shortages, high taxes, and the Unsullied leaving the city unguarded. Tyrion had tried to calm them, but nothing worked. Worse, Sansa had sent word from Winterfell, if the south falls into chaos again, we will not intervene. Even family was pulling away. Jon stood in the ruined throne room that night. Staring at the melted iron, he had no throne, no queen, no peace, just enemies, one in the Riverlands, burning banners, one in the south, watching with Baratheon eyes, and many more, waiting in silence. For now, Jon was king. But in the Game of Thrones, nothing stayed still for long. The wind howled through the Red Keep. Autumn had come early, bringing cold nights and restless hearts. Jon sat in the War Council chamber, a map of Westeros stretched before him. Black flags had begun to rise, not just in the Riverlands, but now whispers came from Dawn too. And even the Vale, always quiet, had begun to shift. Tyrion stared at the map with narrowed eyes. Maidenpool wasn't just a warning. They burned the Lord's family alive, hung children from the walls. Whoever's behind this isn't just rebelling, they want fear. Sam, pale and sweating, added, the symbol they left. We've seen it before. A red eye inside a sun. It was a sign used by old Targaryen loyalists during the Blackfire rebellions. Blackfires are gone, Brienne said. Extinct, or hiding, Tyrion muttered. Like Jon once was. Jon leaned back. His head ached. Too many enemies. Too many ghosts. Whoever they are, they're targeting weak houses first. If they burn their way west, the Crownlands will collapse. And then, Tyrion said grimly, they'll come for the dragon. Jon stood and left without a word. He needed air, needed silence. But there was no peace in the Red Keep anymore, not even at night. That evening, as Jon walked the ruined corridors alone, he heard soft footsteps behind him. He turned, hand on his sword. It was a woman, long dark cloak, face shadowed by her hood. I bring a message, Your Grace, she said. From the fire, Jon frowned. What fire? The one still burning in Essos, she whispered. The one your queen started, he froze. Daenerys is dead. The woman pulled back her hood. She was young, no more than 20, eyes like molten gold. But her dream lives. You killed her body, but not her followers. And not her child. Jon stepped back. What are you saying? She was pregnant when she died, King Aegon, and the child lives. It felt like the world cracked under his feet. No, he said, shaking his head. She would have told me. She couldn't, the woman said softly. She didn't know until the very end. But her blood lives on, and there are those across the sea who protect it, waiting, growing, ready to return the flame to Westeros. Jon's heart pounded.
Why tell me this?
Because your crown is borrowed. Your blood may be true, but your rule is not. When the child comes of age, the true fire will return, and you will be the usurper." She dropped a coin at his feet, old Valyrian steel, marked with a dragon and sun. Then she vanished into the dark. Silent as a shadow, Jon didn't sleep that night. By morning, the city was on edge again. A riot broke out in Flea Bottom. Food wagons were attacked, and 2 guards were killed. Tyrion managed to suppress the news before it spread too far, but it was a sign. The people didn't care about royal bloodlines or dragons. They wanted peace, bread, safety, none of which Jon had been able to give them. And still the raven came from the Riverlands. House Blackwood attacked. Their seat taken. "The rebels are calling themselves the Sons of the Fire Reborn. Fire Reborn," Jon said aloud, reading the message in the council chamber. Tyrion sat with a glass of wine. He hadn't touched it. "You see what's happening. They're twisting Daenerys' legacy, turning her death into a weapon." Sam looked afraid. "If the people believe it, they might turn." "They already are," Jon said. "That afternoon a messenger arrived from the Vale. Lord Robin Arryn had fallen sick. His new advisors were calling for neutrality, withdrawing support from the Iron Throne. And in dawn the new prince had stopped answering letters. The realm was breaking. Again. And Jon knew what had to happen. "We ride," he told his council that evening. "I will go to the Riverlands myself. Burn this rebellion down before it spreads any further." Tyrion looked at him. "You ride into fire, Jon, into a war built from ashes." Jon stared out the window toward the blackened ruins of the city. "I've lived in fire my whole life. Now I must rule through it." As Jon prepared to ride out, another raven came, but this one wasn't about war. It was from Gendry. One sentence. "If the child is real, it changes everything." And deep in the shadows of Essos, across the narrow sea, hidden in a temple where dragon banners still hung, a baby's cry echoed through stone halls, a girl with silver hair and violet eyes. Fire! Reborn, the Riverlands were burning. From the moment Jon crossed the Blackwater Rush, he smelled smoke on the wind. Villages had been torched, castles looted, flags of House Tully torn down, replaced with banners marked by a flaming red eye. The Sons of the Fire Reborn had moved fast, too fast for scattered bannermen to stop them. Jon led 2,000 soldiers, half from the Crownlands, half from Storm's End. Gendry had not come himself, but he had sent troops. Jon didn't know if it was loyalty or guilt. Maybe both. Davos rode beside him. "This rebellion isn't just about Daenerys," he said quietly. "It's something deeper. People are angry, Jon, not just scared. Angry," Jon nodded. He'd seen it in their eyes, the peasants who stared with hate as his army passed, the whispers of dragon usurper echoing in taverns. They didn't care that he had saved them from Daenerys. All they saw was another Targaryen king, another name carved in fire. When they reached Maidenpool, it was nothing but bones and ash. The castle had been reduced to rubble, the gates blown apart from the inside. Black scorch marks painted the walls. Some said the rebels had their own dragon. Others claimed it was wildfire. Jon knelt beside the body of a child, her hand clinging to a burned doll. "This isn't rebellion," he said. "This is madness." Brienne looked around, her jaw clenched. "Then let's end it before it spreads." That night, as the army made camp outside the ruins, a prisoner was brought to Jon. A boy, no older than 16, taken from a rebel scouting party. He was bruised but unbroken. "I's defiant. I know who you are," he spat at Jon. "You think you're king, but the true fire is still coming." "You're just a shadow," Jon stared at him. "You follow monsters who burn children. They burn the weak to make the realm strong again," the boy hissed. "Queen Daenerys showed us the way. Her daughter will finish it." Jon froze. "You believe she had a child?" "I've seen her," the boy said. "She was born across the sea. She is fire and blood. She is flame-made flesh. And when she comes, you'll bend the knee. Or burn." Jon stood. "Put him in chains. No more talk." But the boy smiled as he was dragged away, like he knew something Jon didn't. 3 days later, Jon's army clashed with the rebels at the edge of the God's Eye, near the old ruins of Harrenhal. The rebel forces were smaller, but fanatical. They painted their faces with ash, wore robes marked with the fire sigil, and fought like they feared nothing, not death, Not pain, not even defeat. Jon rode into battle himself. Ghost running at his side like a white blur through the chaos. Steel met steel. Arrows rained from the trees. The rebel commander, a former knight named Ser Velaryon, once a quiet supporter of Daenerys, shouted through the field, "The dragon on the throne is false. Blood calls for fire!" Jon cut him down himself, blade through the chest. But even as the knight bled out, he whispered, "The true queen comes. You cannot stop her." By dusk, the battle was over. The rebels were crushed. For now. But Jon didn't feel like a victor. He stood in the ruins of the battlefield, surrounded by the dead, and knew something had changed. This wasn't just a rebellion. It was a prophecy in motion. That night, a raven came, not from Westeros, but from Essos, from Braavos. The note bore the seal of the Iron Bank, and it said one thing: the child lives. And we have seen her. Tyrion, reading the message in the Red Keep, paled. If the Iron Bank backs her, Jon, you may not just lose the realm. You'll lose everything. Jon stared at the flames of the candle. She's just a child. Tyrion looked up. So were you once. And across the sea, in the free city of Braavos, inside a fortress guarded by unsullied and loyal priests of the Red Temple, a girl no older than 3 sat on a stone floor, drawing with charcoal. Her hair was silver as snow, her eyes violet like wildfire, and she spoke softly in Valyrian as a priestess placed a crown of flame on a carved dragon skull before her. "Dracarys," she whispered. The storm hit King's Landing before dawn. Thunder cracked over the Red Keep as Jon returned from the Riverlands. The battle had been won, but the city didn't feel it. There were no cheers, no songs, only watchful eyes, lowered heads, and whispers behind closed doors. Jon walked through the halls like a ghost, his black cloak soaked with rain. Ghost trotted silently beside him. The smell of smoke still lingered in the capital, not from fire, but from fear. Tyrion was waiting for him in the council chamber. His eyes were bloodshot. A cup of wine sat untouched at his elbow. "She has a name," he said, without greeting. Jon raised an eyebrow. "Who?" "The child. Daenerys's daughter. Her name is Visenya." Jon sat slowly. "How do you know?" "Because the Iron Bank didn't just confirm her existence. They've pledged support. Gold, ships, even mercenaries. They're betting on her now. And worse." Tyrion hesitated. "So are others." He tossed a scroll across the table. Jon unrolled it. It bore the seal of dawn. The letter was short. "We recognize Queen Visenya Stormborn, rightful heir of Daenerys Targaryen. The South remembers its loyalties. We do not kneel to false dragons." Jon said nothing. He read the words again, slower this time. Tyrion poured himself a drink, finally. "They're moving, Jon, quietly, carefully, but soon, openly. You crushed 1 rebellion, and 2 more are blooming in its ashes." Jon's voice was flat. "She's just a child." Tyrion shrugged. "In the eyes of the realm, that might be her greatest strength." Over the next week, more cracks appeared. 3 lords from the Crown Lands withdrew their men, claiming harvests were poor. The Stormlands sent fewer wagons of grain than promised. Even the Vale, now ruled by a quiet council of old knights since Robin Arryn fell ill, had stopped sending ravens altogether. Whispers filled the city streets like fog. They say the girl has dragon blood. She's the true queen. Jon Snow killed her mother. He'll kill her too. Jon tried to show strength. He doubled the city watch, sent ravens to the north, to Sansa, to remind the realm who sat the throne. But the replies were slow and cold. One night, as he walked alone through the throne room, Brienne approached him quietly. "Your Grace," she said, "you should know. One of your own council members met with a Dornish envoy in secret." Jon turned sharply. "Who?" She hesitated. "Lord Davos. Jon found Davos on the eastern wall, watching the sea." "You lied to me," Jon said, no anger in his voice, just the weight of disappointment. Davos didn't deny it. "I met them, yes, but not to betray you." "Then why?" "To hear them," Davos said softly. "To understand what's coming. Jon, this girl, she's not just a symbol. They believe in her, not out of madness, out of hope." Jon clenched his jaw. Hope for what? More fire? Another child raised to rule before she understands the cost of war? No, DeVos said. Hope that the realm won't bleed under a broken king. That cut deeper than any sword. Jon turned away. I never asked for this crown, DeVos sighed. I know, but that doesn't matter anymore. You have it. And you're losing it. That night Jon had a dream. He stood in Winterfell again, barefoot in the snow. The courtyard was empty. No sounds, no life. Then he saw her, Daenerys, standing by the heart tree, holding a baby wrapped in red silk. She will come for what's hers, she whispered. And you will have to choose, the realm or your blood. Then the snow turned to ash and he woke up. The next morning, another raven arrived, not from a noble house, but from a sellsword captain in Essos. He had seen the girl. He had seen her with a dragon, a hatchling, small, black as coal with green eyes. Not Drogon, but another. A hidden egg, they said, had hatched in the Red Temple. The priests had begun calling her not just Visenya, but the Flame-born. Jon sat in silence as the council argued around him. Tyrion warning of war, Brienne urging strength, Sam begging for a peaceful solution. DeVos silent, but Jon only heard one thing, a dragon. The last time a dragon came to Westeros, cities burned. Children screamed. Queens died, and now a new dragon had been born, and she was coming. The sky above Dragonstone burned red at sunrise, not from fire, not yet, but from the sails that filled the bay below. Black ships, Dornish ships, Braavosi ships, and among them a single golden vessel bearing the sigil of House Targaryen. Three-headed dragon, reborn in flame, she had arrived. Visenya Stormborn, daughter of Daenerys. 3 years old, carried ashore by red priests like a goddess wrapped in silk. Behind her walked her protectors. One of them, Grey Worm, returned from Nath, face harder than ever. He had once served her mother. Now he guarded the child with the same deadly silence. A dragon the size of a horse circled above the ships, still growing, still young, but alive. The people called it Nyrax, after the old Valyrian word for vengeance. The realm felt it in its bones. The fire was returning. In King's Landing, Jon stood before the small council, his face pale but set. No hesitation now. The pieces were moving too fast to stop. She's landed, Tyrion confirmed, laying down a fresh raven scroll. Dragonstone has fallen without a single sword drawn. The people there opened the gates. Called her the Child Queen. Brienne clenched her fists. We should have destroyed Dragonstone months ago. It was a mistake to leave it untouched. Sam looked heartbroken. She's just a girl. If we send armies now, it won't be a war. It'll be a massacre. Jon's voice was cold. We're past the point of innocence. The Iron Bank supports her. Dorne supports her. Half the realm is waiting to see who strikes first. Tyrion leaned forward. Then don't strike, Jon frowned. You want us to do nothing? No, Tyrion said. I want you to go to her, alone. Silence fell. You can't be serious, Brienne said. I am. Let the realm see that the king himself tried peace. That he met the girl, looked her in the eye, and offered unity instead of fire. If she rejects you, then war is her fault, not yours. Jon stared at the map. He thought of Daenerys, of the child she never knew she had, of the rebellion rising in her name, of the fire growing in the east, and he nodded. I'll go. 2 days later, Jon sailed for Dragonstone with only a few guards and Ser Davos. No banners, no threat, just a meeting, king to heir, man to myth. When they arrived, he saw the people first. Hundreds camped at the base of the castle. Followers of the Red Faith, farmers, former slaves, broken men, all there to serve a girl they'd never seen, believing in her as if she were a god reborn. Jon climbed the steps slowly. Inside the old hall, he saw her. She sat on a carved stone seat, feet barely touching the ground, her eyes watching him with unnatural calm. Silver hair, violet eyes, a look too knowing for a child so small. Beside her stood Grey Worm and a woman cloaked in red, a priestess of the Lord of Light. King Aegon, she said in a sharp Essosi accent. Welcome to the true queen's court. Jon didn't correct her. He looked at the girl. You're Daenerys' daughter. Visenya blinked once, then nodded. I loved your mother, Jon said softly. I killed her. Because I had to. She wanted to burn the world. I didn't want that for you. The priestess stepped forward. You speak of love while you sit on her throne, while you wear her blood like armor. Her flame lives in this child now, and she will finish what her mother began. Jon's jaw tightened. If she follows her mother's path, she'll die the same way. The girl stood, small, delicate, fragile-looking. But her voice was strong. My mother flew dragons. I was born in fire. The people love me. You rule with a sword. I will rule with flame. Jon stepped closer. And who will you burn first, child? Me? Sansa? The small folk who don't kneel fast enough? Grey Worm's hand went to his blade. The guards tensed, but Jon raised a hand. Calm. I came here to end war before it begins, he said. The realm is breaking. I offer peace. Let me raise you in the capital. Teach you. Protect you. You're not ready to rule. Visenya stared at him, then whispered something in Valyrian to the priestess. The woman translated coldly. She says, if you want to protect her, you will kneel. Jon stepped back. He had knelt once to Daenerys. It had cost the world. He wouldn't do it again. No, he said simply. He turned and walked out. Behind him, the dragon shrieked in the sky, and across Westeros, the people waited. Not for peace, not for mercy, but for war. The first fireball struck King's Landing at dawn, not from a catapult or wildfire, but from above. From wings Nyrax, the black dragon, no longer the size of a horse, now soared over the capital skies, grown faster than anyone expected. Red priests claimed it was a blessing. Soldiers said it was unnatural, but the truth was simple. Visenya Stormborn had brought the flame to Westeros. Jon watched from the ramparts as buildings burned. Flea Bottom, the Sept ruins. A tower near the harbour collapsed as Nyrax let loose another stream of fire. Panic surged through the city. Bells rang. Screams echoed. The old nightmare had returned, but this time in the form of a child with a dragon. Tyrion stood beside Jon, face pale. They're not attacking the Red Keep yet. They're baiting you. Jon's voice was ice. She wants me to strike first. She wants the realm to see you as the monster. Jon turned. Then we don't give her that. We evacuate the city. Focus on defense. Let her be the one who spills innocent blood. Brienne nodded. We hold the keep, but we prepare for siege. Jon looked out across the smoke, his heart heavier than ever. He didn't want this crown. He didn't want this war. But now, to protect the realm, he had to fight a girl who had done nothing except be born of fire. 3 days passed. The fires raged, but the Red Keep stood firm. Jon refused to launch a full assault on Dragonstone. Instead, he sent ravens, messages, offers of truce. None were answered. Then came the second message, from the north. Sansa had sent 5,000 soldiers, but not for Jon. She had declared the north as neutral, refusing to fight for either Targaryen. This is not our war, she wrote. Let the dragons destroy each other. Jon was alone, and still. He refused to burn the girl, until the night the secret tunnel collapsed. Rebels, cloaked in red, armed by Dorne and Bravos, had tunneled beneath the walls. Explosives buried below. Dozens of Jon's soldiers were killed in the blast. Half the eastern wall of the keep came down in rubble. Jon barely escaped as he pulled a boy from the wreckage, blood staining his hands. He saw Nyrax circling again above the ruins. This wasn't politics anymore. It was destruction. In the great hall, what was left of it, the council gathered. Tyrion limped in, covered in dust. Sam held an infant in his arms, rescued from a collapsed home. We can't hold her back anymore, Brienne said. 1 more week and the Red Keep will fall. Jon nodded. Then I end it myself. Davos stared. What are you saying? I'll ride to her camp alone. Tyrion leaned forward. Jon, you go there again, she'll kill you. Maybe, Jon said. But maybe. She'll listen. Sam's voice shook. She's a child raised to believe fire is salvation. She won't understand peace. Then maybe she'll understand blood, Jon said quietly. Maybe she'll understand the truth. That night, under a black sky and red moon, Jon rode alone toward Dragonstone. He carried no sword, no banners, No guards, just a single scroll. The moment he reached the gates, spears met his chest. But Grey Worm stepped forward. He stared long at Jon. No hate in his eyes, only tiredness. She waits. Jon entered the great hall again. This time, it was filled with priests, warriors, loyalists. At the center sat Visenya, still a child. Still calm, Jon knelt, not in submission, but to look her in the eyes. "You've won," he said softly. She blinked. "You burned the capital. You broke the keep. The people already chant your name. You can kill me and the realm will cheer. But it won't make you queen. Not truly," she tilted her head. "You think a throne made of ash will last?" He asked. "You think ruling through fire will give you peace? It won't. It didn't for your mother. It won't for you." The priestess stepped forward, angry. "You come to lecture a queen?" Jon pulled out the scroll, opened it. It was the truth, Daenerys's final letter to Missandei, found in her chamber after her death. It spoke of regret, of fear, of not wanting her child to be born in war. Jon read it aloud, word by word. When he finished, the hall was silent. Even Visenya didn't speak. Then he stood. "You want to be queen?" he said to her. "Then end this. Call off your dragon. Let the realm heal. Or kill me now and rule over ashes." For a long time, no one moved. Then the girl stood, walked to him and hugged him. The war ended not with a sword, but with a scroll. Jon stepped down. He named Visenya his heir. He named Tyrion regent. And he vanished from the capital, leaving behind the throne, the crown, and the blood of dragons. No one saw him again. Some say he returned to the north. Others say he sailed west, like Arya. But the people remembered him not as a king, but as the last man who tried to save Westeros without fire. And for once, the realm stayed quiet. Even the dragons slept.